Hey everybody, Joshua Laycock here. It is day 25. We're 25% of the way through 100 videos in 100 days, and I'm having a lot of fun. It is also day one of my vacation for a week. It's actually been a long time. My wife and I were talking about how long it's been since we've actually taken some meaningful time away, and although we're only taking a week and we're not really going anywhere, it seems to be the first time. Oh, sorry. It seems to be the first time in a long time that we're actually taking a bunch of time off together. Just been job changes and weird circumstances, which has not allowed us to do that. So I'm really excited. It's always going to be interesting when you're not in your normal routine, how to keep up with the things that are important. And, well, you just get it done. So I posted an Instagram this morning at lifestyle.evo, what questions you might have, because I got lots of things I wouldn't mind talking about, but I thought, what do you, for the 3 people that are probably watching these, what are some of the things that you might like to know about or want me to maybe kind of riff on and see if I can figure something out? And very quickly, the first question I got was how to deal with a crazy wife. Good thing that question came from my wife. And I always appreciate her support with this, and we're having fun. But it did get me thinking, we're going to be spending the next week together in super close proximity, which is truly a lot of fun. But, and people have commented to us, both to me and to Kate independently, that we do have a really great relationship. We do have a really great partnership and marriage. And I've said before, it takes work. But I would agree, we're in a good place. And I thought, let me think about some of the things that are true or why I think that we have a pretty good marriage. I mean, there's a million things. But I jotted down 6 items that I thought were pretty critical that are transferable to just about any relationship that you might be in. So I'll just roll through these 6 and kind of give you my thoughts, and then I would love to see in the comments if there's anything else that you think would contribute or have contributed to your strong relationships, or maybe areas that you've overcome some challenges in the past. So number 1 is to know your partner's love language. There's a great book, The Love Languages, 4 Love Languages, and it's this whole series now. But essentially what it means is what it talks about is that we, as individuals, we like to be shown affection and shown love in a certain way. And I'm not going to go into all the specifics, but what it talks about is that we, as individuals, we generally show our love in the way that we like to receive it, right? So if I feel very loved when someone says something nice to me, well, I'm going to be like, well, then I should say something nice to the people that I love because they must love that too. And while some people do, other people are less moved by that. There are things that matter to them in terms of how they receive affection. And part of understanding your partner's love languages and adjusting the way that you show your affection, aside from being more effective and making your partner feel loved and valued, it's showing that you're making a very conscious effort to show value to them as opposed to just freestyling it. And there's something to be said about being free and being casual, but sometimes you have to work at it. So when you find out how your partner likes to receive love and you give it in that way, it's very, very effective. And actually, I think you may find that certain things that you do for your partner, you might think that you're actually showing love, but in fact can actually be received very, very differently. So not only is it not effective, sometimes it's counterproductive. And I'll give a really quick examples. I like there's 4 love languages. I don't know that I'll remember them all, but one of them is physical contact. And I like a hug, I like holding hands, I like a little goose on the bum or whatever. Just for whatever reason, whenever Kate comes by and does that to me, it just sort of makes me feel good. And so if we were stressed out, or if things are whatever, if it's been a tough day or something, I would every now and then come up behind and give Kate a little goose on the bum. And for her, that's not one of her primary love languages. That's not something that she receives as something to show that I'm showing affection to her. And in fact, sometimes it can be kind of annoying, or it can be counterproductive, is that she thinks that if she's stressed out and I'm trying to do that, but that's not helping me, that it shows that I'm not in tune with how she's feeling, or at least she's perceiving it that I'm not in tune. Clearly I can tell that she's stressed, and I'm thinking maybe this thing will help. Well, I know there's other things that I can do to help her get through whatever stressful situation she's dealing with, and to show her that I care and that I respect her. So that's something that I think is important for her. So know your partner's love language and make a very conscious effort to represent and show your love in that way that matters to them. Number 2 is communication. And okay, that's a giant, relationship catch-all. I put down communicate bravely and compassionately. Bravely means sometimes you have to have uncomfortable conversations, but you always need to do so with compassion. So we've not always been good at this, but something that Kate and I are really good with, I think right now, is recognizing if we are going down a path that could lead to an argument or a fight. So if we're stressed out, or if one of us is stressed and the other isn't, or whatever, look, she might notice that maybe there's a lot of little things that she says that are setting me off, that are getting a reaction that doesn't seem appropriate. She'll say to me, like, look, I'm not trying to upset you here, but you seem to be upset by the things that I'm saying. What's going on? Are you okay? I'm not looking to pick a fight here, and that's important when we recognize, and especially if our kids are being bad and we're just getting frustrated, and then we find we're getting short with each other. We'll just say, look, let's all take a big breath here. We're frustrated, we're stressed out, the kids are being crazy, whatever, or we're like running around at the end of the day trying to cook lunch or cook dinner and get everyone ready. Let's not rip each other's heads off. We're all on the same team here. Let's all just take a breath and try very hard not to take what each other is saying personally. And you know what? That vocalization of that, like, I recognize that we're going somewhere that we don't want to go, so let's stop that, is really powerful. We very rarely get to the point where we're really angry with each other. I mean, it happens, but not often. And a big part of that is brave and compassionate communication. If someone's pissing you off, you're pissing me off, you're being an idiot. Well, that's maybe brave, but it is certainly not compassionate. So communicating bravely and compassionately with your spouse, I think, is critical and takes practice and courage, hence bravely. Number 3 is a big one. Don't keep score. Don't keep score. I see this a lot with kids, young kids. Well, I got up last time, you get up this time. Or I took out the garbage this time, so you should be cleaning this. Or, whatever it is, don't keep score. Now, that's not to say you can't create systems. Like, Kate and I had a really good system where it was sort of like, we will alternate as best we can if one of our kids wakes up in the middle of the night. I got this one, you get the next one, good to go. That's very different than keeping score, right? You're not competing with your spouse. You are on a team. If you are keeping score, you are competing, and all it does is breeds animosity and frustration. Okay? So any time, whether it's I cooked dinner 4 times in a row, why aren't you cooking dinner? Or, we don't do it, so it's kind of hard to touch on. But if you find yourself keeping score, I think that you're maybe in a tough spot, and that what you're doing is you're allowing the seeds of animosity and frustration to dig in. And if you do find yourself keeping score, well, be aware of it, go back a step, have communication. Compassionate and brave communication. If you feel like your spouse isn't carrying their end of the bargain, maybe they're not helping with the household chores or something, first of all, we should all be aware of that, and we should all be helping. But if you do find yourself in that position, the more you keep score, the more frustrated you're going to get. Go back to the previous step and have a conversation and get it out of the way and create a system that works for everybody, which is very different than keeping the score even. Okay? And I think it's important. Number 4 is a really big one. Don't try to change the other person. Now, look, if you're at the beginning of a relationship, cool. Don't date someone and think they're a fixer-upper. And I think both men and women are probably guilty of this. Don't try to change the other person. We are individuals in a relationship. We are individuals within a family, and we are a family unit, but we are all individuals, and we're all dealing with our own battles. If you go into the situation trying to change the other person, one, you're going to be really disappointed, because I don't really think that you can change people. You can get into situations where you may be influencing or you may be supporting, but those things are very different than going in with the expectation of changing someone. You're going to be frustrated yourself, but you're also likely going to alienate the other person. Love them for who they are and support them. Don't try to change them. But number 5, always keep working on yourself, right? Always look to be improving, whether that's being a more receptive spouse, being a better lover, being in shape, being a better parent, leveling up your job prospects, being a better home economist, keeping the finances straight, finding more effective and efficient ways of cleaning the home. I don't care what it is. Without loading on the stress, there should always be a perpetual state of growth and of betterment. And you know what? I like the saying, a rising tide raises all ships. I think that if you and if everyone in the household works on themselves, the whole thing goes up. And then all of a sudden you don't have to try to fix someone. You don't have to try to change someone. Work on yourself, and you can lead by example. And that's all that I think is required. And then the last one that I'll touch on, and I've mentioned it a few times, is remember that you are on a team together. Again, you are not competing with each other. You have the same objectives. Whatever those objectives are, they need to be in alignment. And I'm talking the big ones, right? We're all going to have individual little things that we want to work on, and you should have your own things. But I'm talking as a couple, as a family unit, you should have the same vision of who you want to be and where you want to go and what we want to accomplish, and we should be moving each other forward. When we're competing with each other, when we're creating headwinds for each other to succeed, that's not operating as a team. And again, you're sowing the seeds of animosity and frustration. And all of these things kind of tie into each other. So I really think, although I'm sure I've missed a bunch, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Kate watches this and what her take on these points are. But I think, from having thought about it, I think these are the main ones. So again, I'll go over them really, really quickly again. 1, know your and your partner's love languages. Communicate affection and love in a way such that your partner will receive it, not the way you want to have it received. Number 2, communicate, but communicate bravely and compassionately, not or, and compassionately. Number 3, don't keep score. Number 4, don't try to change the other person. Number 5, always keep working on yourself. And number 6, remember, please, you guys are on the same team. Work as a team, move forward. What's good for the individual is good for the hive, or good for the bees, good for the hive. Move together. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you all tomorrow.